Good evening, everyone.
How's everyone doing tonight? It's Monday, a new week, a fresh start. I'm sure everybody's off to hopefully a great week, and your plans for the week will progress great as well. And yeah, today we have a special guest today.
Very special guest. Wow, it looks like the chat room is already full with a lot of people. Everyone's saying hi to Anurag. Hello. When will it start? Just wait. Yep. Well, we're about to start. Anurag's in. He's in the weight room. Before we get him in, let me just officially introduce him. Okay. So I think a lot of you have been following him, but nevertheless, let me give you a little bit of a background on Anurag. Anurag has been involved in sports since a very young age, with the support and the encouragement of his parents. From 2012 to 2016, he was actually trying and training to become a professional footballer. He played football for a couple of top clubs in Pune. And although his desire was to be a football player, in 2015, he accidentally ran his first half marathon, finishing on the podium. Thereafter, he began training for both sports, running in the morning and football in the evening. But I think he was quick to realize that, he couldn't do both because each sport required its own set of training methods. So he decided to give up his dream of being a professional football player, and he opted instead to give running his complete devotion. Anurag joined the Sai Athletic Institute in Nasik, where he trained under experts for 9 months. And since then, he has been a student of the sport, specializing in 10Ks and half marathons while also running a few full marathons. Anurag is the fastest non-Ladakhi to run the Ladakh Marathon, which, as many of you know, is the world's highest marathon. It starts out at 11,500 feet and goes up to 17,500 feet. He finished the race last year in 3 hours, 19 minutes, also winning the open category. In December of 2019, he ran his personal best in the 10K with a time of 33:19. And he has now come to realize that 10K is the distance that he can truly progress at and truly excel at. And today he's going to share a little bit about his journey and the efforts that he's been taking towards acing the 10K. Let's bring Anurag in.
Hi, Anurag. Welcome.
Hey, what's up? Thank you for having me, guys. This is just amazing.
Yeah, how you doing? Doing well?
I'm all good. Yes, I'm all good. Hope everything is fine at your side.
Oh well, as good as it can be. Yeah. That's a nice wall you have at the back.
Yeah. Thank you.
Are those all 10Ks or?
Yeah. Actually, all my runs till date. So
yeah,
save them pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many are there? Have you counted them?
No, I haven't actually counted them yet.
Great. So we're very excited to have you here today, and we look forward to learning a lot of things from your side on the 10K distance, because it's a distance that I think a lot of us think about it more of a, as a training. I think we just go out and do a 10K as a training run, and not many of us take it seriously as a competitive run. Most of us focus on half marathons or full marathons or beyond that. So I'm excited to learn more about it and how you go forth in terms of your training for 10K. But before we dive into that, I think if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, how you've been involved with sports at a young age, and what got you into football.
All right. So football for me was always through my childhood, right from my school days to my all my classes, the society, everywhere. I was surrounded by all my friends were completely into football. So I've always been surrounded with an environment of footballers, and that really got me into different kinds of teams, and then that got me into football training itself. So yeah.
What position did you play?
The clubs that I played for, which were pretty high level in this city base, I played as a center back, as a defender,
Yeah.
and I was also right wing in a few runs.
You're a pretty tall guy, so sorry.
Yeah,
Central
yeah,
make,
And fast. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it makes sense.
yeah,
I played that position growing up in high school when I played football. So hey, I can relate to that.
I
that's great.
I played football all through my school, all through college, even in Bombay, in Australia. I was a midfielder. So
Oh wow,
I've grown up playing football for years. I used to train at Cooperage, which is a pretty famous ground in Bombay.
yes,
Um,
right,
so all three of us have a history in football.
yes.
We're really slow in running, not as fast as you though. So not every footballer becomes a fast runner.
True.
Yeah. Awesome. And then, so central defense. Do you have a favorite defender that you followed or you look up to?
Yeah, in those days, I really liked this defender called Sergio Ramos.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was from Spain and played for Real Madrid.
Yeah.
So I really liked the way he used to tackle and the way he used to defend. So
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So after you gave it a go at football, in 2006, you decided to sort of put that aside and focus on running. What
Right.
factors made you make this decision?
Right. So I still remember the situation. I was in Nashik with my parents, and we were right outside the Sai Center. We had registered our name into it, and it was part of the Bhosla Military College.
Wait, did you go to Sai? Did you go to Sai for football?
No. I went Sai for athletics.
Right, but initially, okay, so you had already decided to get into athletics before you went
Right.
there.
Yes.
Okay. And
So yeah.
what made you take that decision to even go up to Sai?
Yeah, so I was just sitting with my parents, and my parents asked me that, "Did you really want to take this step? Like you spent 4+ years in football career, and do you want to take this step to completely change your sport altogether?" So it made me think, and I realized that in running, individually, you have to put in a lot of efforts. So the amount of efforts you put in, that's the result you get. And I felt that was just amazing sport to really stick to. While my football training was going on, and I used to run a couple of marathons about alternate weekends, a lot of people encouraged me and guided me that I should pursue running more than football, because I had comparatively pretty good times at that time. So that's what really got me into it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Carry on. So you went to Sai and yeah.
Yeah.
So, sorry, you were saying So that's when you decided, and then you drove up to.
Yeah, and then yes, and that's when my parents and we finalized it that I'll just give this a try. I mean, what's to lose? So I was in my first year BA at that time, and I gave athletics a try. It was a completely different experience for me. Like I honestly didn't have any clue of easy runs or a long run or strides, and I learned a lot in those 9 to 10 months of phase. So that was just amazing. Yeah.
Why did you? Why were you there for 9 months? Was it a 9-month program, or how did 9 months happen?
That's a very interesting story. So at the 9 months, at about 9 or 10 months, I got dengue, and because of which I had to head back to Pune. So I was there in Pune for a month, and I just spoke to my parents that that level of athletics is out of my league at the moment, because there are world champion athletes and Olympic athletes who are representing India. So I felt, why don't I train myself first? I've got the training plans. I can learn more through the net. I can read more through a lot of books. And why don't I first train myself, get a specific time, and then definitely approach them again. So that's how I came back to Pune.
Yeah, and you of course haven't gone back. You've been training yourself and excelling.
Yes.
So how did you get into running half marathons and then full marathons? And did you start running those first, or were you also focusing on the 10K?
In running specifically and completely into running, I've been in this sport for about 3.5 years now. And for the initial, I would say 2 years, I would literally call myself as a distracted runner. And that's just, I would say, just be frank. That was basically because I was moving on from a 10K to a 21K to an ultra to a full. So I didn't have like a specific goal or a specific distance that I wanted to master. So for the first 1.5 years, I was just roaming around, enjoying running, enjoying different locations, enjoying different distances, learning how each distance suffers for my body. And yeah, just about a year back, I had finalized that 10K is the distance I'd like to pursue.
So you've run an ultra, is it? What?
Yeah, I've run a 50K in Matheran.
Oh yeah, I think it was there when we ran the 50K.
Okay, so yeah, we did see you on the course. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
That was in 2017, I guess. 17, 18, 17, I guess. Yeah.
A lot of rain and a lot of fog.
Oh yeah, it was amazing. It was a blast.
But 50K on that course really beats you up because it's so stony, and it doesn't have a lot of elevation. It's flat, so you want to run really fast, but you can't run really fast because of all the stones. So,
stones, right. Very true.
Yeah, awesome. So how many? You did a bunch of different races, bunch of different distances. What sort of brought you back to the 10K? Why?
So I felt that for a marathon, you need a lot of mental strength. I'm sure all of you all must be knowing out there that marathon is not only about endurance. It's basically a mental game. Same for the half marathon. To be one of the top athletes in your city or your state, you cannot just have good endurance, but along with that, you got to have good speed as well for the half marathon. But for a 10K, it's a fast sport which gets over in about 30 to 35 minutes from my perspective. So right. So that leg turnover and that stride length, and because I've got a good height, I spoke to a lot of running friends. I spoke to a lot of my parents, my relatives, and all of them were with the same suggestion that 10K should be the distance. You've done a couple of 10Ks. You know how a 10K works. For example, in a marathon, you need to exactly know when to take in a gel and when to really take that water when you really need it. And even that practice takes a lot of time. But the 10K for me, I've done a lot of 10Ks, and that's really made me comfortable. And I feel with the specific times I have right now, I can definitely pursue faster times. Yeah.
Is there a specific time that you're aiming towards now that you have a 33-minute 10K? Are you aiming for something?
I'm aiming for a 32:30 at the end of this year, and let's see how it goes.
So what are you gonna do to obtain that? What does your training look like?
So basically, like any other training for any other distances, you have like 8 to 12 weeks of base building where you really put in a good foundation, and basically those are just easy and long miles. After that phase, you go into a tempo, like an anaerobic phase. So even going into that transition, at the end phase of the base phase, you put in a lot of strides. So basically, you don't want to get into the anaerobic zone completely with stiff or heavy legs. So it's like a merging path where you put in a lot of strides, and basically that picks up the leg turnover. Then once you're in the anaerobic phase, you have your tempo runs, you have your speed repeats ranging from 1000 meters to 400 meters, even 2Ks sometimes. Then it's very important to chip in easy runs. I mean, lot of us, including me, I've been through a lot of injuries because I wanted to get at a level very fast. And for that, I like about say 6 days a week used to be, one of them used to be long runs, one of them used to be tempo, one of them used to be hill repeats, one of them used to be speed repeats, and all this was a lot, like it was painful. And I realized that you really have to plan your training well, and easy run is just like a shakeout run. Yeah, so easy runs is a very important thing which a lot of people miss out these days. So yeah, these are the top 4-5 which I really focus on.
What's your weekly mileage like when you're training for a 10K?
So in my base phase, for the 3319, I touched from 100 to about 120.
Okay.
And when I was in my anaerobic, I was at about 75 to 80, and but that included a lot of speed work.
So you're still running a lot. I mean, 100, 120K a week is
That's a lot.
it's great for a full marathon, for a half marathon. You're putting in a
Yeah.
lot of miles.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I mean, of course, base phase. So a lot of that is easy running.
True.
Yeah. So
What is the longest that you usually run during that base phase? What's your long run look like?
So in the base phase, long runs typically go till 24, 25. I don't want to over exaggerate myself because I have the whole week to really build up that phase. And even these long runs, at least the initial stage of the base phase, really go into comfortable and conversational pace runs. You don't really want to unnecessarily overdo or overstrain your muscles and joints.
Sure.
So yeah, that's that.
What's that? 24K long run is what, an hour for you?
At least in the base phase, it's not an hour.
Yeah.
It goes to about 1.5, 145. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just take
And then as you're sort of getting into, you know, your next cycle and the next phase, you're probably dropping your mileage down to 70 or 80K, but you're putting in a lot of hard runs, hard workouts. So how do you plan that? Do you do what, like 3 workouts a week, 2 workouts a week, and then the rest is again easy, or is there?
Yeah, sorry. So in those anaerobic, in that anaerobic phase, I make sure that my week consists of 2 hard workouts, and these hard workouts will specifically be on the speed aspect. In that week, I also make sure that I get in 1 long run. And that long run can be a different variation. So that long run need not be at one pace. So that long run is divided into just the initial 7K or 7K in between of those 24K. You take in a little threshold effort. So you go slightly slightly slower than your goal race pace, and you go back to your long run pace. So these 3 workouts, out of those 2 speed workouts, one I make sure that I do a tempo run, and that goes close to about my goal race pace. So for example, if I'm aiming for a 40-minute 10K, my tempo runs will be at about 410, 415, and I don't want to go 10K in all. So I just do about 6K for the start. And as I reach closer to my goal week, I do about 7, 8, and that's how I go with the tempo runs. Speed repeats is basically a lot of it is done on the track, 1000 meters and 400 meters on about alternate weeks. So 1000 meters will definitely be faster than your 10K goal pace. It has to be. And your 400 meters will be at your 5K race pace because it's just a 400-meter loop. So
Okay.
yeah, that's how I go about it, of those 3 important workouts in my anaerobic phase.
And do you have any rest days, or are you
Uh,
running?
no, so I do 6 days a week.
Okay.
Saturdays, I like to just take it easy, about 4 to 5K shakeout run, no specific pace in mind, just by feel. And the other 6 days, 3 days are the important ones, and the remaining 3 will be just easy and short.
So you're still running 7 days a week.
Yeah,
That's
I
your-
wouldn't count the Saturday run as well.
Yeah, it is. It is a run.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. And so, for those watching, not everyone has access to a track. So, can people do the repeats on road? Is there an advantage, running around on a track versus running on a road? Because I know a lot of Sport Shack kids are watching, so maybe they have these questions.
Yeah, so it's ideal to have a track.
Yeah.
In a lot of situations, one doesn't get the accessibility of a track. So mud track is also completely fine. Basically, what I want to say is 6 days a week on road or tar is definitely going to injure it's either going to injure your joints, your bones, or it's really going to tighten your muscle up. So uh, if not the hard days, at least the easy days, if you even go out on the trails and just do like an easy 10K, which is mud under your grounds, that's even perfect. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to reach out to a question from the audience. There it is. Sohan says, how should I breathe when I run? Because after some time, the breathing is very stressful for the body. Do you have any breathing techniques, preferred breathing methods that you use, some ratios of in and out that you can recommend to viewers?
Basically, I go off by feel.
Yeah.
I mean, one reason why one tends to get tired is because of their fitness level. And as your weeks go and as you train daily, your fitness level rises. So that breathing will also change. So there's not any specific breathing pattern as such I follow. But yeah.
No 3-2, 2-2s, or 4-4s.
Yeah, yeah, I've tried all those. I've tried 2-1s and I've tried it on my easy runs, but um I mean, I just go by feel.
Go by feel.
I mean, that's what I want to say. Yeah,
I think
like
at
when
some
it's time. Yeah,
no, go ahead.
yeah. No, please go ahead. You were saying?
I was just saying, at some point we may start with a 4-4 or a 3-2, but as the months roll on and as you get more comfortable and as you build your running economy, you sort of forget the ratios. You're just
True. True.
in it. You're in your run and you're in your zone and you're not even thinking about breathing. You're thinking about, I don't know, something else like what's for breakfast after the.
True. True.
Speaking of breakfast, there's another question. Nivi says, "What's your favorite post-run food?"
Post-run food. All right. On my long run days, I really like to have dalia. And dalia is basically like porridge. So I like to really put in those dry fruits in them, sometimes put a little chocolate syrup on it. And I mean, it's easy digestible and it's light, but it's very efficient. So dalia, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. What is the big vision you have for yourself?
So I've realized that to get into the top athletes, or at least in India, the elite athletes, the times have to be dropped down about 30 minutes and 30 seconds. I feel if I'm in that range, then I'm on the right track. So for that, I've also planned high altitude training for next year, and I'll definitely give that a try. Let's see how that goes. But for the next 3 years, I'm going to stick to the 10K till I reach the goal of 30 minutes. And once I reach that, I feel then is the right step to go on to a higher distance or just focus on the times and just get those times faster.
That's a good plan to have. Going back to running and training for a 10K, part of your training plan is also your nutrition plan. What do you usually do for nutrition fuel during your races and training?
All right, on that topic, yeah, I don't know if you all remember this.
Oh, yes. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a couple of months back, but to be honest, I don't want to brag about it, but I'll be completely honest that this drink completely changed my training. I mean,
You mean the recovery?
yeah, the recovery mix completely changed my training. So as I started learning and reading and watching videos on YouTube about running and nutrition and training plan, I realized that there's this 20 to 30 minutes gap that that you get post your runs, and that is when your body literally becomes like a sponge. I mean, it'll take in anything you give it, and I feel that 20 minutes is the time you really have to put in those protein and carbs. And when I can still recall it. When I was on a 36-minute 10K, that's when I started having these recovery mixes, and I realized that uh, it's so efficient that the next day you don't feel those legs tightening up. I mean, I'm not sure how it works. Obviously, it has the ingredients of carbs and protein and ashwagandha, curcumin, but it just works. It's like a perfect blend, and I feel that's why I've kept this. But that's why I kept this. Like from a 36.
I'm really surprised and happy that you have the original packaging.
Right, like that has really helped me from getting 36-minute 10K to 3390, definitely. So that's my first intake that I have post my runs.
Yeah.
And then breakfast, I mean, every day, I'm sure everyone must be getting confused as to you cannot every day have the same meals. So sometimes you can always indulge in a bowl of pohe. It's basically puffed rice, it's carbs, and so I mean, pohe, shira, all these which are home cooked foods are, I guess, the best form of breakfast that you can get. And,
Are you drinking that recovery mix after every run, or is it just after your hard runs and long runs?
So basically, I on my long runs and my hard runs, I have these.
Yeah.
If the run I feel at the end of the run, if my muscles are still tightened up and I feel I'm a little weak, I have the protein drink as well, the pea protein, because that's actually when the body needs it. So it just needs that little bit more protein, that little bit more carbs, which are daily foods at the moment. Not all foods give that, and yeah, so that's what I do.
What else do you do for recovery after your trainings apart from nutrition? Do you have any other specific regimen that you do?
Post my workouts.
Yeah. I've seen you in a bucket, or not in a bucket of ice, but in a pool of
right. Right. So that's just basically cryotherapy, and I normally do those when I have my long runs, especially the hard long runs. So basically, your body is wearing out while you're running. Your nerves start to inflame, and so that you don't fall into an injury, the icing therapy just gets that inflammation down. So that really works well. I mean, we can always go in for massages and foam rolling, but I feel after a post hard session, a cold therapy is always good.
We have a lot of questions coming in, so I'm just gonna keep throwing them in one by one. Hey Anurag, what do you think about group workouts like tempo runs and long runs? Do you believe in group runs, or do you train by yourself?
Definitely. So I do train by myself, but a lot of times for my tempo runs, I have a few friends along with me. Most of the time they're on their cycle, but they're still there, and that company just gets you going even more. So I definitely agree with Amit. Group runs, group workouts are fantastic. They keep, you can push each other and you can just push your limits. So that's great.
Yeah.
I think if you find people who run around the same pace as you, that is like how Anurag is saying that you can push yourself. You can push yourself
Right.
more. So it's important to go with people who have similar paces to you, not with people who have a very different pace, because that can hinder your training.
True. Yeah.
Here's another one from Akash. He says, most of us who start running have a pace of about 7 minutes a kilometer. How should one go about bringing it down to 6, and how long should this transition take?
That's a good question. Even for this question, I would say go off by feel. Say suppose you're running 7 minutes per kilometer for, suppose, say 10K. I would say once a week, try a workout doing about 6K, but just keeping in mind that you have to maintain that 6-minute pace. Once you get that and post that run, if you feel comfortable, then that's great. If you don't, just the next week stick to that same distance with that same pace till the time you're comfortable at that distance and that pace. And slowly in time, you can always increase that distance from a 6K to a 7K, and that's the best way to really get your paces. Second option is you can always put in speed workouts. Basically, speed workout is going to increase that leg turnover, and it's going to build up that anaerobic system in yourself. So you can always play around with your workouts and see which works for you best.
And I think consistency is also key to trying to do it.
True.
Because you start running and then you take a 2-week break and then you try to start again at the same place. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. So I think consistency is very important to try to improve your pace.
True, definitely true.
Here's another one from Aditya Vishwajit. He says, what is the diet you take for such hard training weeks? Yeah, Anurag, what's your diet like? Are you vegetarian? Are you non-vegetarian? And then what's your typical breakfast and lunch and snacks? Do you indulge in samosas every now and then? Or are you very, very strict on the kind of food that you eat?
So a lot of my friends know me that I'm pretty strict about my diet. That if I want to have outside food, that'll only be on the weekends. Whether that's someone's birthday or someone's party or someone's celebration, I will make sure that that person knows that I'm very sorry, but weekends is the time I'm going to have it. Breakfast, I normally do either muesli or dalia, as I said earlier. If it's just a short run, I go off with a banana and peanut butter sandwiches. And I just want to say that home food is the best food you can get. I mean, you don't need restaurant food, or you don't need some high level crazy ideas to fill your stomach. I feel home food, what your mom, what your dad makes at home is just best. And I just make sure that I keep sticking to that plan. And yeah, that's that.
Do you not crave like ordering out once in a while, or some pizzas or something?
I do, but I don't know. I just can't handle it having it on a weekday. So
that's commitment. You're committed, and that's amazing.
How many meals do you have throughout the day? Because I know that Amit has a very high metabolism, and he eats like every 2 hours. So do you also have a high metabolism, and about how many calories do you tend to get in every day?
I haven't calculated the calorie per se, but I have about 4 meals a day. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And if I have an evening workout, say an evening easy run, I have like a quick sandwich, a peanut butter sandwich, or just a couple of bananas and dates. So yeah, 4 meals a day.
What did you eat for lunch today?
Today. Oh my God, what did I have for lunch? I had dal and rice.
Okay. Yeah. So it is pretty simple home food. Yeah.
Yeah, simple home food.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Okay. How do you do any kind of do you taper? How do you taper for a 10K?
That's a very good question. So when you're in your anaerobic phase, and suppose this Sunday I have a race. This Sunday I will, instead of doing 3 hard workouts, I will only put in 1 hard workout, and others will be easy with just short speed repeats. So instead of a 400-meter repeat, I'll do 200-meter repeats, but that'll be at a very fast pace and a good amount of rest. So basically, I'm just working on. Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, how many of those would you do? So say if your race is on Sunday,
Okay.
when would you do your 200-meter repeats, and then how many of those, like 6 or 8 or 4?
So I'll have 1 hard workout, say a 400-meter repeats. That'll be about 10 to 12 on a Tuesday. On a
Yeah.
Thursday, I'll have 200-meter repeats, and that'll be about 8. I wouldn't cross 8. Basically, it's not an anaerobic type of workout. It's just that you want to get that leg turnover quick. And if you put in a hard workout on Thursday as well, you are going to tend to fall into an injury, and you definitely don't want that when you're so close to the race. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I have a question. So say you're done with your taper, and it's Sunday morning. You're getting set for your race. How do you pace for a 10K? Do you just go all out, or do you, like, I don't know, go all out for the first K, get out of the crowd, and then settle in and hold the pace, and then try and get faster towards maybe the last kilometer? Or how do you?
What's your strategy?
True. I've got a lot of questions which resemble the exact same. Basically, if it's a big race, you automatically tend to go fast on the first kilometer. It just happens because you're surrounded with such fast runners. From the second kilometer till the 8th kilometer, it is very important to maintain your goal pace. So you don't want to go far. Even if you are feeling well, at least I would suggest till the 7th kilometer, keep that goal pace intact. Your last kilometer is anyway going to go fast because you're going to finish it. So till the 8th kilometer mark, it's very important to maintain your pace. So a lot of people have Garmin's now. I myself have a Garmin, and it's very easy to track what pace I'm running at. So yeah, that's how I go about.
So you have a set goal pace. You will try and stick to it till about 8K. And then
about 8.
if you're feeling great, you will try and get a little faster. If you're not, you'll try and hang on. And okay.
Right. Yeah.
Do you use any gels during 10K, or do you just run the complete 10K without any nutrition?
So I have tried a gel, but not on the run. I've taken a gel about 15 to 20 minutes before the race, and that has actually helped me as well. I usually have a banana or a few dates about half an hour before the race, but the gel does so. Throughout the run, I don't take gels or water because it gets over in about 35 minutes. You don't.
You've also run a lot of half marathons. So how does it change when you're running a half? How long do you usually take for that, and then what's your nutrition? Yeah.
So for the half marathon, I make sure I have 1 gel compulsory at the halfway mark. Even if I don't need it, I still have it because I don't want to risk going into a downfall at the later stages.
Yeah.
I keep 1 extra gel with me just in case. So if the race is going really fast, the second gel comes in use as well, and that is about 17 to 18 kilometer mark when you just need that last push. So I have it there.
Very, very different from how Sayuri fuels. So we had Sayuri on, I think, last week.
Monday.
Yeah, Monday. And she does at the start 7K and 14K, and it's very specific, and that's what she's used to, and it works for her. So interesting.
Good.
I think the most important part is knowing yourself and knowing your body, and I think that
True.
whatever works for you
True.
is what works for you. Yeah.
True. Very true.
There's just questions are just pouring in, man. So I'm gonna take a marathon question round and just go through them. Let me see. Where was I?
I think somebody had a question on strength training.
Yeah.
Do you do any strength training during your training block, or do you do that, before your training block begins?
Yeah, definitely. Strength plays a very important role. It's basically so that you don't break down and you stay on your pace. So strength plays a very important role. I do it about once a week. Sometimes when I reach closer to my goal, to my race day, I do it about twice a week. So yeah.
And do you do weight training, or do you just do your own weight?
Not weight training, but I use a couple of resistant bands and just the basic strengthening sessions. Yeah.
So you strength train once a week and sometimes twice a week. But
As I go closer to the race day, I do about twice a week, or else in my base phase, I'm once a week doing.
Yeah. Okay. More questions on recovery. Hey Anurag, this is Rohit. How do you recover after an interval run and a tempo run? So I guess after your speed sessions, yeah.
So I just said earlier, I have the Unived recovery mix. It's been almost about 1.5 years, and it's been it's working perfectly on my body. And whenever I have a hard session, that's what I take about 20 minutes after I'm done with the workout. Once I'm back home, I indulge in good amount of breakfast. I love drinking milk. So good amount of breakfast, milk, and rest. So yeah, that's what I take.
Do you take a nap after your training, your hard session?
After my long runs and I would say speed repeats, I do take about an hour of nap, and that just makes you recover faster. That's what I feel, like an immediate nap. Yeah. So.
Okay, Gaurav says, what should you do when you get a side stitch?
Okay, a side stitch. What I normally do is I just slow my pace down. Say, suppose you're in a race and you get a side stitch. You slow your pace down and you breathe in from your nose and you breathe out from your mouth. While breathing out from your mouth, you try to expand your stomach. So it's slightly tricky, but you can always try that in your easy runs or your practice sessions. That breathing in from your nose and breathing out from your mouth. And while breathing out from the mouth, just try to expand your stomach. So that's getting in more oxygen into your lung system.
I think that's something that happens to almost every runner every once in a while.
All of us. Anil is back today. He says, how do you improve your stride length?
Your stride length. It's basically, I would say, 200-meter repeats or just 100-meter strides. As you keep practicing them more, you automatically get that stride length increased. Stretching, I would say, works well as well. Like stretching those hamstrings where you want to really open up those legs, stretching your glutes. This really helps in opening up those leg muscles. So that's that.
Yeah. Anil's a pretty fast runner, by the way. He's a 235, 240.
Yeah, marathoner. Yeah, he's fast, man.
Yeah, we have to get you on the show soon.
I have a question for you, Anurag. Are you self-coached? Are you self-coached, or do you have a coach?
So at the moment, I'm self-coached. Once I came back from Nashik, I did a lot of research, at least for about 6 months, a lot of research on training aspects, on nutrition, on different trainings for different distances. And over the years, I've applied those trainings. I've seen which training works for me. Uh, so at the moment, I'm self-coached, learning a lot through books, learning a lot through YouTube videos, and applying them in my training sessions.
Awesome.
Great.
Monica asks, how do you motivate yourself when you think you can't go further anymore?
Wow. That's a good question. Um, I mean,
Say you've hit a roadblock, say you have a, I don't know, 25K long run, and at 18, you're like, oh man, this is it, I'm done, I just want to go home. How do you push through and get those last 6K, 7K done?
I feel one aspect will be that if you have a specific pace in mind that you're targeting for your long runs, and you feel like you are just disconnecting from that run, I feel slowing down works a lot. Like getting the distance would be more important than shortening the distance and just stopping it, and then cribbing and crying over it that you should have just completed. So I feel just slowing that pace down, just taking it easy, and then once you get in those 2 extra kilometers, then you start getting your pace back up.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way of approaching it.
Yeah.
Rohit, is it important to take a sip of water during a 10K? Does it affect race pace, make you faster or slower?
I feel one part of it would depend on where you're running. So, for example, Mumbai is a humid place, and I would say taking a sip of water at about the 5K U-turn would definitely help. But if you go to a place like Bangalore, which is cool and I mean it's windy, I wouldn't. I mean, it also depends on if you really need it in your training blocks. Like in your trainings, if you need that sip of water, then you try it out with that sip of water. If you don't need it, like I don't, if I'm racing in Pune, I don't need a sip of water throughout the 10K, and that just works for me. But if I travel up to Mumbai, I definitely need a sip of water because it's a little humid and a little sticky. So
Yeah. You may even pour some over your head if you're in Mumbai.
yeah. True.
I think this one's a good one. What kind of injury have you faced, and how did you overcome that?
Okay, that's a nice question. So when I started running, I have this very funny incident. The Mathiran 50K, that was a run which my dad challenged me to run. And as I said earlier, when I just started running, for the first 1.5 years, I was a completely distracted runner. And in that energy, in that zest, I took that challenge that my dad said, and I ran that 50K in Mathiran. It was an amazing experience. It sure was. Obviously, at that time, I didn't know that you need to take about a week or two of rest or recovery or easy miles. But just 2 days after that race, I went to play football, and I had a slight meniscus tear on my right knee, and I was out and just walking for the next 2 to 3 months. So that's one of the injuries that I've faced and I've learned from a lot. Yeah.
How were you able to get back from that? How did you keep yourself motivated?
I did a lot of core exercises. I did a lot of strengthening, and just making yourself sweat that little bit that you can in your injury phase just gives you that little motivation to just keep going. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna have to skip a few questions because I don't think we'll have enough time to go through all of them. All right. Akash says, would you recommend running on an empty stomach? If not, what is the gap between a banana and your run? So yeah.
If it's a long run, definitely not. definitely don't go on an empty stomach, because you don't want your long run to get disturbed, or you don't want to bonk up in that long run. If it's an easy 5K, just a shakeout run, you could maybe just have a quick electrol mix and just go about the run. And in case of banana and sneakers, I feel 30 minutes before you start the run is a good time to put it into your stomach. Yeah.
Okay. Night Fury. That's a great name, Night Fury. How do you improve controlling dehydration during long runs?
Uh, I feel practice is the way to go with it. Um, I mean, improving dehydration. If you're in a marathon, at every kilometer you have proper hydration markers, proper hydration tables to give you the hydration, and I feel you shouldn't hesitate in taking those. So even on the long run, uh, these days people like even the bottle of Unived, which has like a strap at the end. I use those for my long runs, as on my long runs I'm all on my own, and I don't have no tables for a water stall. So that's what I do. I just carry a short water bottle with me, and I plan out which kilometer do I actually need it, and which kilometer did I actually need it. So that's the two things.
Yeah.
One more question. Anurag, how could I do my training based on heart rate data? Do you follow it? Heart rate training before?
I do, but I mean, I normally keep going on go by feel. Heart rate does play an important role. I completely agree with it. But I feel the feeling of an easy run and the feeling of a tempo run is way more beneficial than a heart rate monitor. So maybe in your base phase, you can use the heart rate monitor, because that's the phase when you have to go completely comfortable, conversational, easy.
Yeah.
When you're in your tempo runs and you have to stick to that specific pace for the first 2 3 workouts of those 2 3 weeks, I feel you should just go by feel. Heart rate, I feel, will automatically reduce in time of that specific distance with that specific pace. Yeah.
Good advice.
Hill training. What about hill training, man? Do you do a lot of hill reps?
So even hill training, I like to get them in my anaerobic phase. So I go for an easy 30 minutes. And in hill training, if I'm in my anaerobic phase and I'm closer to my race day, I would really incorporate a lot of uphill sprints, and which are only about say 100 to 150 meters. But those uphill sprints work really well. They strengthen your legs, strengthen your heart, and that's an amazing workout to put in your week.
You know, with with all the races cancelled now, what's your training
Right.
like? What phase are you in? What are you doing? Are you just having fun? There's no specific race that you can train for right now.
True.
So talk to
Uh,
us.
so I'm doing a lot of strengthening sessions. I'm working a lot on my core.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of staircase workouts, and I'm doing a lot of skipping. So these four things I'm really, I mean, that's and once in a while I go early in the mornings at 4:30, and I just run in my colony. I make sure that I'm completely socially distanced. I make sure that I get my run before the sunrise so that I'm not in contact with anyone. Otherwise, strengthening, skipping is going on.
Um, hmm. Speaking of skipping, Ananya says, how does skipping help?
It's an amazing cardio workout, I would say.
Yeah.
Works your heart a lot. It works the Achilles and calf muscle a lot. So skipping does really help. Very good cardio, very good it can tire you sometimes. It can really tire you.
And I think it's also like since it's a lot of repetition, your feet are going faster, so that I think your turnover might improve with skipping because it's at a much faster rate.
Yeah.
Right. True.
Okay. Do you have a fartlek workout to suggest? Do you have any favorite fartleks that you use?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I love doing 2K fast. Those 2Ks will be just a little faster than your 10K pace and a 1K recovery. So I love doing that workout. I don't know what got me into it, but 2K fast and a 1K recovery, about 7 to 8 reps, and I love doing that workout.
Yeah. How do you develop mental strength?
Mental strength. I feel meditation works a lot. Meditation is basically just keeps your mind calm. The only thing you're concentrating is on your breathing, and you're just mentally calm and peaceful and silent, and I feel that works a lot.
Yeah. Do you meditate often?
I do. I try doing it 2 times or 3 times a week. I do hesitate as well, but yeah, I try to make of it.
Okay.
There's this one question here by Amit again. When will you be back to the full marathon distance?
Oh, the full marathon. I've had a lot of experiences in this distance, and I would say only one of them has been good, which was in Delhi. Full marathon, I feel, takes a whole lot of different mental strength, a whole lot of different training altogether. And I feel in time, as you build a good amount of base, that's how you're automatically able to perform in the 42 kilometers. So I feel, I don't know, I feel once I get my times of a 10 kilometer in the ranges of 30, maybe then I may move on to the half marathon and then the full. But at the moment, I'm not thinking about it, at least for the next 3 years. Even if I put in a 42K, it'll basically be a long run, and it'll be just slightly with a slower pace. So I'm not going off with 42 kilometers at the moment. I don't want to risk it.
I think it's good that you're patient and you're able to hold yourself back, because a lot of people at a very young age, they just want to go all out and they want to run a marathon distance. So it does take a lot of
self control and also self dedication, commitment to what goals you have made for yourself.
Very true. Very true.
Hey, well.
Before we wrap up our chat with you tonight, we have a little quick fire round for you. So,
okay.
Favorite speed workout?
400 meters. Repeats. Yeah.
Ice soaks or recovery socks?
Recovery socks.
Track workouts or long runs?
Long runs.
Favorite Unived product?
The recovery mix, definitely. I'm going to stick to that, man. I'm going to stick to that. Yeah.
And then the last is, what's a dream race for you? A dream starting line?
I would say the Bajaj Alliance half marathon. I would still like to be in the elite field in the 10K. Not the half marathon, but in the 10 kilometer distance, I like to be at the elite field, simply because the results are in the ranges of 29 minutes and 30 minutes. So that is really, I'd love to be one of those elite field athletes.
Yeah. Just so that everyone gets an understanding, how many 29, 30-minute 10K runners do we see in races in India? How large is, or how small or how large is that population?
Actually, not much. I feel only in the top marathons, that too only 2 or 3, I would say. At least in the Indian field elite category, once in a while you get the 29-minute mark. If you go to the Bangalore TCS, the elite field are completely out of their mind. They run right from 28 minutes to sometimes 27 minutes. But for the Indian field, I feel 29 minutes happens about 3 times or 4 times a year. So
Wow.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
So it's a small pool.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a small pool, and it's it's a lot of work to come down from 33 to 32.
Yeah, to 30, which is what I'm aiming
Yeah.
for. So yeah. Well,
Brilliant. It's really nice
Uh,
to speak with you on a
Yes.
very interesting topic of a 10K.
Yeah.
You of course you have a huge following because there's been a million questions that have come. So big shout out to Sport Chat. I know that you're involved with them,
Yes.
and with all the kids that you're mentoring and encouraging and training. So I'm sure they're really happy to see you on here.
if people want to get in touch with you, how can they do? How can they do that?
So I'm there on Instagram by the name of Anurag Konkar. I'm there on Facebook, and those are the 2 accounts that I'm focusing on. I don't want to get into a YouTube channel or any of that sort at the moment.
Yeah, we'll leave a link to your socials in the description, so people can check that out. And thanks everyone for tuning in and for
Thanks
such
so much.
insightful questions.
Amit?
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
Hi. Really sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to say a few words before I go off. To all the people who are live right now, I just want to thank you for being so patient. Right now, we are in a situation where I feel a lot of us are dealing with different kinds of situations. I just want to thank all those parents out there, all those relatives, your roommates, whether they are neighbors, your friends. I just want to thank you that you're doing it responsibility. You're being safe. You're following the norms, and yeah, that's that. Just be responsible and be safe. That's all.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of thanks coming to you as well, which I'm putting up here. You're an inspiration. Thank you, Anurag. Thanks, Anurag. Thanks, Anurag. There's a lot of thanks coming your way. So yeah, but thank you.
I want to thank y'all as well, because not many brands, like, I don't know how it works, but being a part of the family of Unived, where you support numerous athletes around the world and support them with the first thing that an athlete needs is nutrition. And I just want to thank you that you've been amazing throughout the world. And yeah, that's that. Thank you.
We're a very small part of the great things that you're doing. So thank you for letting us come into your life and give you a little bit of support. We'll make sure that the recovery mix continues to taste as good as it does.
Soon we'll have once the whole lockdown is over and things are back to more of a normal state. I know a lot of people have been asking along with you for the bulk pack of recovery mix. So hopefully we can get that to you soon.
Yeah, and we've received a lot of requests to come over to Pune and have a session with you and meet everyone.
Definitely. Please.
We want to come and run with your whole group and meet them and maybe have a meal together. So we should plan that.
Definitely, that'll be great.
Yeah, thank you everyone else for tuning in and for your insightful questions. If you have further questions, please leave them in the comments and we'll try and answer them. Also, if you have suggestions on topics that you'd like us to cover or people that you'd like us to bring on the show, please let us know and we'll try and do our best. Thanks for being patient. Be safe, be home.
And stay tuned for tomorrow's broadcast. Tomorrow we have Laura Klein from the US.
Yeah.
We'll be talking on mindset training. So
Laura, yeah.
go ahead.
No, Laura's an amazing person, amazing athlete, world champion, multiple-time world athlete champion. So she's going to be on here tomorrow to talk about mindset training. She's been to India twice. Okay, I'm not going to give too much away. We'll just keep that for tomorrow. Today's been great. It's been great, and good luck with everything. Keep motivating the kids. Keep those stare, repeat sessions and stories. Keep the stare, repeat stories coming. We love them, and we'll see all of you soon. We'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.